And a beautiful but chilly evening in Portland. Welcome back to our Moda Center studios. Blazers and Chicago Bulls tomorrow night, but tonight it's Trailblazers courtside. Mike Barrett, Antonio Harvey, and Joe Freeman from the Oregonian. He is our guest right now. We were talking in the last segment. We threw up a Mason Plumlee, Robin Lopez kind of comparison, just kind of show you the numbers so far. And I don't think it's far-fetched to say the Trailblazers. I mean, and I know that we love the past players, but if you were to throw up CJ against Wesley Matthews, if you were to throw up, I mean, you can do that at
across the board.
You can. I mean, and so the argument could be made they upgraded at every position except for power forward.
It's too early to make that statement for me.
Okay.
Because that last team, as it was constructed, accomplished quite a bit.
Sure.
I mean,
an upgrade, I don't mean they're going to go to the second round of the playoffs or anything. I'm just saying as far as
long term, I mean, you certainly have a lot of young potential, and the way that the biggest linchpin to all this has been the play of CJ. I mean, he was sort of projected to be the next breakout guy on this team, and he has lived up to that billing and more. And you know what Wes gave you, both in heart and in ability and in shooting and in leadership and on down the line, is very hard to replace. And he's a guy who's done it for several years now. So but to see CJ step into that situation, to replace a guy like that, and to do what he's done has been very impressive. And you certainly like the way that these young guys are trending.
And it's funny, we talk about how the NBA is, it's about opportunity and timing and situation. CJ in the old system, Wesley was perfect for that system because you dump it into L.A., he backs down, people turn heads, you swing it, you get an open three. Mm-hmm. CJ is a more of a guy who will break you down off the dribble, give him a chance to isolate a little bit and go to work, and that was not Wesley's game at all.
Right.
So maybe in the system last year, we don't see CJ with this kind of freedom and the ability to take over, especially when you look at his fourth quarter numbers and the amount of shots. I don't think anybody has taken more shots in the fourth quarter in the NBA now than CJ after last night. And he's hit them, and he's played with poise. So this could be a situation where the timing and the situation and the scheme, the game plan, and the supporting cast has worked out really well for him.
No question. And this sounds crazy, but in some ways he makes Damian better because he takes pressure off of Damian that before Damian had to do so much.
In some ways? It could very well be in every way.
Okay.
He makes Dame better.
Okay, I may have been a little soft in that statement. But unlike you, I'm not going to say, I probably shouldn't say this. But,
right.
I'm a slow build-up guy. I don't go all in. No. There's his impact, the numbers that we're seeing Damian put up. You thought that Damian couldn't get any better, what he had done over his first 3 years. There's no question he's been better. He's been more efficient. He's been more polished. His assist numbers are up.
His defense is better, too.
His defense is better. And, this is after a solid week of playing with a jacked-up thumb that hurt his shooting, too. So, it's hard to compare the different teams because obviously the previous team was built around LA and everything you did. But what Dame is able to do now with the chemistry that he has with CJ and not the team not being, I don't want to say encumbered, but just relying upon throwing it into the block 60% of the time and then building everything around then, you just see a different kind of team and, a different kind of attack, I guess.
The thing that, we talk about the numbers and the assists and the points and all of that stuff from Dame, but for me what's been most impressive, his leadership.
Oh, yeah.
That, to me, that's the one area, and I want to make sure I say this the right way, that's the one area that this team was lacking for a long time, and that's just the truth.
Why do you have to be careful the way you say it?
Because I don't like to bang on people when they're not here, but it's the truth. This team lacked direct and true leadership for a long time. Dame brought that. He brings it in a different manner. He's not all boisterous. He's not begging for it. He just goes out and makes sure that everyone understands that he is the leader.
And everything he does is with purpose.
Yes.
And when he comes out and gives Terry Stotts a massive vote of confidence saying, I want this guy coaching, I don't think that was for Terry. I don't think that was for Dame. I think that was an example to his teammates this is the guy. I'm in line. You better get in line too.
Who does that remind you of? There's only one team in the NBA that has had that and has had it for a long time. That's the San Antonio Spurs. Tim Duncan, and before Tim Duncan, it was David Robinson. But they said very simply, this is the guy. I'm following him. You follow me. We'll all go this direction. And that's the first time this team has had that.
Yeah, I think the last time I sat here, you asked me, MB, about Dame's leadership, and particularly in the wake of LaMarcus leaving. And, LaMarcus always, I may have said this then, I've said it before, but LaMarcus always wanted to be a leader, but he didn't want to do the things that were necessary. He didn't want the responsibility that came with being a leader. And Dame epitomizes leadership in every conceivable way, from the way he carries himself with us. He's never once left a post-game setting or left an interview setting or left after a bad game without talking to us. He stands up, faces the music, win or lose, no matter what. He holds himself accountable with teammates, with us, and his work ethic behind the scenes is pretty much second to none since the day he's entered the league. He reminds me, Wesley was a very hard worker too. Dame is right there neck and neck with him. And, he's a guy that his teammates respect, not just because he produces when it matters most and he lets his what he says off the court carry on onto the court, but the way he carries himself off the court and the way he works and handles himself, it really is an example for everyone to follow. And he's not out there thumping his chest and boasting about himself.
He will pat his wrist, though.
He might pat his wrist a couple times
but that's
in the
okay.
moment. But he's not talking about me all the time. He talks a lot about the team, and he's really the team's mouthpiece at this point, and the clear leader. And he is just more comfortable, more able, and more prepared than LaMarcus ever was to do a lot of the leadership things that he's doing.
We talk about that pointing at the wrist, but I got to tell you, that was one of the most refreshing things I've seen in a long. We had
the first one or the second one. The first one in OKC last year, or the one this year?
The first one was in OKC. The second one was against the Clips.
No, I mean the other night.
Oh, okay,
this season,
okay.
The pat of the wrist, I was like, oh, thank goodness, Lillard time is back. I was starting to worry just a little bit.
Joe, thanks for coming in. Enjoy our gift from Killer Burger.
Of course, I always.
What is the peanut butter pickle bacon Killer Burger?
Have you had one of those?
No, but Buck was telling me that
it's delicious.
It's the real deal.
It's delicious. Yeah, it really is good.
6 locations in the area. For more details, go to killerburger.biz. There's one in the motorcycle.
I was about to say there's one here for games. That's why I had my bacon pickle.
You went up during a game?
Oh, well, before the game. Yeah, they opened like an hour before the game.
Media room food, not good enough for you.
See, there we go. See, now, no, that's not at all, because they pull up.
This is what I have to deal with all the time, MB.
Just
walking around. I don't even want to get started.
All right, Joe, thanks. Appreciate it very
Anytime.
much. Joe Freeman of the Oregonian, our guest here on Trailblazers Courtside. We'll come back with our final segment right after this.